all day today, and it is dark. I hope it's not too dark to do this. I guess I might have to get up. The birds are ready to go to sleep too. So let me get up and put the light on, and then I'm going to show you what I did with the Jasmine stitch. And it's what makes it difficult and what makes it easy. So, because I had told you I was going to jump back on here today, so I wanted to study the different variations that other people are doing with this stitch. And there's some are doing a few different little things, or they're not clear on what they're doing. And I found a few who were clear, one in particular, and I need to get her name and give her a shout out tomorrow because I kind of lost it. So let me just show you. Some people are, I'll explain to you the research that I've done. Some people are doing rows, like 2, 3, 4 rows of like a single crochet. And then they're connecting it, and then they're going in the rounds of doing the Jasmine stitch. So I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do a row. And I'm still studying the very end of the row, although it looks like there's no chains to worry about. But what makes it, I'm going to show you what makes it difficult. Now, and I think I found a shortcut to about what I'm about to show you, what makes it difficult, because I've been testing it on this one. And this is definitely the Jasmine stitch. So it's coming out, daisies are coming out lovely. And so I'll explain the variation I did here of my own that is stepping away from what I'm about to show you here. So the traditional way, what you're going to see a lot of is they're going to chain one. They're going to chain, slip knot, chain one, and then pull the loop up. So I would say the best thing for you to do is to practice the puff stitch. Like, get a channel and just do the puff stitch. And I've done the puff stitch on this video, but get the puff stitch down pat, because you have to repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. That's what makes it difficult. But look, so I'm going to show you what makes it difficult. So you're going to do a puff stitch, and some of them go, hold on a second, I'm sorry. So, and some of them will do different numbers of chains too. So do your slip knot, and then do, you can do 1 chain or you could do 2. So the one I just looked at, she does just, she does 1. And others are doing like 2, pulling up their loop and then going to the first loop. So we can do that because I kind of like that. So, so you go back, you're doing your, hold on a second, I'm sorry. I probably should have jumped down here earlier. So you chain 1, chain 2, pull up your loop, and you're going to make your puff stitch in your first chain. Pull it up, pull it up. You go 3 or 4 times, whatever you want to make your puff. So what makes it difficult is you've got to hold back this working yarn. You've got to figure out and get comfortable with holding the base of that working yarn. And because when you do a puff, this is why I said learn your puff stitch really good before you start your Jasmine stitch. Because what you're doing is you're pulling, when you do a puff at the end of it, you're going to pull this through, and you're simply going to loop it and connect it. Typically, that's what you would do, is just close it, right? But no, you got to hold this right here. and then you go under it and you're going to pull this up. What you're doing is a single crochet. You're closing it with a single crochet. And let me tell you why that is tricky. And I kind of went back and forth and back and forth, and wanted to close it with just a slip knot like I typically do, and then do a single crochet. And I did do that. And I wasn't sure, should I do it on the foundation row, because this is the foundation row. So the foundation row, the only reason why I decided not to do it here is because, look, now I'm going to pull up this loop. I'm pulling up the loop. Oh, I'm sorry, I got to chain one. Chain one, pull up the loop, and then you got to come back down through what I can see. Most of the crocheters are going back through the single crocheted part there. So you're making another puff. Okay, so we'll just do 3. And then again, look, you're not just pulling this through, but now wrap it around, wrap the yarn around your hook, and then guess what? Hold the base right here of that working yarn, hold it. And then you're going to pull through. So you're pulling the top part through, and guess what? You're holding this back because you're going to do a single crochet. That's how you're closing these puffs. That's your whole first row. Now, having shown that to you, just repeat that, okay? Let me put this down. Having shown that to you. So we go ahead, finish up that first row. So what you're going to do when you turn is you're simply going to, this is what they all say, count an extra puff. For example, if you decide, let's say you're measuring how long you want your blanket to be, make that one extra puff, because when you turn, that one extra puff, you're just going to work off of that. Now, to get to your second row and your third row and like that. So here, this is, so you don't do any chains. So what I discovered, let me just show you here. Right here, you know what this is? It's a single crochet. But I have so much yarn on, and I'm going to show you in a minute, on the crochet hook. I'm like, how on earth, it's going to be very difficult to hold back the base of the working yarn. So this is what I decided to do. I said, okay, well, wait a minute. This is what you do, okay? So where you're at right now, wherever you're at here with your Jasmine stitch. So you pull up wherever you're at, okay? Pull it up, pull your loop up. And we're just going to do 3, guys, okay? I'm doing 3 for 1 puff. There's 1 puff. So guess what? You come over to the next chain space. This is not difficult. It's the amount, and you're going to do a puff there. You're not doing any chains. You're not doing anything like that. You're just bringing the yarn over. Okay, so look, now I have 2 puffs sitting on the hook. So look, now I'm going to start my 3rd puff in my next chain space, which is right here. Okay, and this is what I'm showing you today because I want to study the end turns and whatnot and then come back specifically with that. But it's not, it doesn't appear to me to be difficult. Now what they're typically doing is holding back here, right here, and then pulling the top part through. Okay, they're holding it back. Look, you got to pull it all the way through. And you see how it's wrapping around my finger? I might lose it. There it is. So I'm going to close it with a single crochet. It's very pretty. I'm going to tell you right now, it's a really beautiful stitch. What I discovered though, if you find it really difficult to hold that working yarn back to create, do a single crochet closure, slip stitch them all, close, and then do a single crochet. You need the single crochet for a good closure for a base. You have to have it, because right here is, so we're going to do a chain. Right here is where we're going to pull the yarn up. You pull it up and you start your next puff stitch, okay? So that's one, and then you go to the next working space. Whoops. And see, this is what makes it difficult, is you may miss it because there's so much on the hook. Now I only have room for 2. So when I study this a little bit more for the end, then I'll know, is that correct or not? For now, I'm going to go with it. I'm holding back the working yarn. I'm pulling through the top part of it, but I'm holding the base of it, pulling it through. Hopefully it stays there. But I've only got 2 on there. Okay, so I'm coming back, catching that loop, and creating a single crochet. You see? And that looks correct to me for sure for ending it. Now this is what I learned today also. So now I'm going to turn like this. So I'm going to work right in that space. Whoops, I didn't pull it up enough. Hold on. What you have to remember too, guys, look, you got to, wherever you're ending, you got to pull that loop up for how long you want the puff stitch to be. This is not difficult. It's just a lot. It's clusters of puff stitches that you're making. Okay, so there's one there. Now I'm going to my next working space, which is right there. It's clearly right there. You're skipping over some puff, but it's right there. And now, and still I'm not closing anything off. I have 2 puffs now on my hook. Now I'm going to my next space, and I got to make sure I find it. Here it is. And this is, you can see me struggling a little. I almost think a Tunisian hook would be okay here. Now look, I have all of this on my hook. And what I have to be mindful of right now is I have to hold this base back, because now I want to close these, and I've got to pull that all the way through while I'm holding the base. And I lost it. Hold on, there it is. No, I gotta look at that, guys. I lost it. Here it is. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we pull it through. That's the difficulty, is the number of strands. So you pull it through. You're going to go through that loop, and you're going to do a single crochet. Okay, so that, and then there's your little daisy again. See the daisy? Okay, so you want to see daisies, and when you're working a row, you want to see a half daisy. It is not difficult, but I would say that that's the difficulty of it. And the ends here, I am still studying and need to get to know if I'm doing the ends really correctly. But I did see a number of these videos today, and when they turn, they do the very first cluster of your puff are right there. Like you don't skip anything, you do it right there, right in the first chain. Um, and then you just go to your next chain space with all your puff cluster of the first puff on your hook, and then you go to the next chain space right there for your next one, and then you go to the third one, and you're connecting them. So that's the concept. I hope that that helps. We will be doing more of this because I like to study these stitches and get it so that it's conceptual for me, so I can apply it to different things that I want to do, and then I share that with you. But everyone's explaining it in a really lovely way. They're doing it just a teeny tiny bit uh, different from video to video. Some of them exact the same, but some of them a tiny bit different, like how many chains they start with, or how many foundation rows they start with, or if they go in the rounds. And the only thing I didn't like about going in the rounds when you're just beginning is you really do have to figure out how to turn around and make a row even. So that's my big concern right now. This isn't largely off, but for me this seems a little off right there. But that's also that's was my very first puff right there. So with that, I hope that that helps, and we'll be doing more of these. The typical foundation row is like this. It's just, chain two, and then work in that second chain, make a puff, and then close it off just like we did with holding back that your working yarn to make a loop, and then and once you get it, like I've just been doing this afternoon, or not even this afternoon, guys. It is late. I think I started almost 6 o'clock. It just kind of, okay. I had started to do the Jasmine from my book I had, and then I'm like, well, let me see what these guys are doing. I kind of just skipped through and went through and just looked at different little things that I was interested in on the Jasmine, because you get the concept really quickly that you're just taking 3 clusters of your puff stitch and connecting them. Super easy. But I would say the most difficult part is getting all your yarn on the hook, number one. And the second thing is holding back your working yarn so you have a little loop, so you can always make a single crochet to close that puff, okay? Or to close 3 puffs. Okay, so with that, I hope that that helps, guys. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your evening. And I'll see you in the next one. I love it.